Good morning, Temitope. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Ethan.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. So our class will start now. Um, I have a few things to say before we start the introduction of the class. This is our first Java class for this session. So in case you don't know me before, I am Temitope Oyedemi. So I will introduce myself, talk about who I am, talk about why I learn Java, and then the rules of engagement for this class. So follow along as I start with the first item. Who am I? So I know some in this class already know, but we'll still do that. So Temitope Oyedemi is a full stack QA engineer. When I say full stack, I mean I have full experience in every area of QA engineering, quality engineering. And I have about 10 years or more experience with development, coding and development, and approximately 9 years in quality engineering itself. With a background in computer engineering, I've been able to um, develop my career in software development, data analytics, QA engineering, and then, of course, now full stack quality assurance engineer. So you are welcome to this class. In my free time, just like now, I engage in development, trainings and development. Most of the time for free. I train the upcoming QA engineers in software development and QA engineering. Okay. I was also once a general secretary for ANST. That should be the previous set. And currently, I work with QA Fit IO, which is both a company and a community. So I will stop right there. So why learn Java? Importance of Java. So you learning Java today, I'm sure it's not because you were forced to select Java as something you want to learn. You showed interest, you registered, and then you show up. The fact that you are showing up in this class means that it's very important to you. So in terms of career path, after this class, you might decide to go straight fully into software development. Who knows? Yeah, you can do that. And you can also go into full-time automation, data engineering, DevOps development, and a lot of other career paths that might involve you coding. That is the importance of learning Java right now. So what are the rules of engagement in this class? Number one, no late coming. Today, we are short of 5 minutes or more, or 15 minutes because of the, I think there's a program by 12. So on a normal day, there will be a 5-minute grace for this class. Now, the grace time is not for you to wait and say, oh, the class is not going to start, so I will join by 5 minutes after. No, the class is going to start exactly at the exact time. So we use 5 minutes for a recap of the previous class. So we will use 5 minutes for a recap while we wait for others. That is the essence of the 5-minute grace time. Why? Because we have a lot to learn and we have a short time to learn them. So because of that, we'll maximize our time. Also, no assignment indicates no questions. What do I mean by this? If you don't do your assignment in this class, just know that you don't have the opportunity to ask any questions. I will know. If you ask me any question without doing your assignment, I will not answer you. In QA, we said there are no stupid questions. In programming, there are stupid questions. If the question you're asking is the type that you can find in your textbook or you can find on Google, then it's a very stupid question. I sent the objectives of this class yesterday. By the end of this class, you should know that you are expected to think like a programmer. And what does that mean? It means your thinking capacity should be able to solve problems. Solving problem is what we know in coding and development. You solve problems with every line of code you write. It means you will be able to think logically and creatively. It also means that you do your homework before asking people questions. You research, you check, has it been done before? What was the method that was used before? How was it done before? Can I repeat what was done before? Replicate what was done before? And after that, you jump on, okay, let me do it now. The basic principles in science, you experiment. And that is what I want to advise us here today. If you ask me a stupid question, I will direct you back to Google. Okay? So, think first before you ask any question. And that is why we are making use of a textbook. I've shared it on Slack. We call it Think Java. How to think like a computer scientist. It's very simple. Who is a computer scientist? Someone who discovers, who has an idea, develops on it, and what? Experiment on it, and what? Develop a product out of it. Okay? And for you to develop a product out of it, it means you are solving some kind of what? Problems. It means you have undergone a lot of procedures before you come to your conclusion, just like science. Okay? So that is how this class will go. Now we are going straight into today. This week we are covering 3 chapters. 2 chapters today and 1 chapter tomorrow. Hopefully, I hope we can cover those 2 chapters today. I am not a lecturer, But the fact that I'm using textbook doesn't mean that you should now focus on textbook in class. Please try to listen very well. And then after the class, you try to replicate what you have been taught in class, because I will try to go to the lowest basic, because I know some don't know how to code before now. Some have started already, but might not actually understand the basic principle of what programming. So I will introduce from the basic, from the lowest point, so that we can all get along with what programming is, especially what Java programming is. So I think the first chapter is talking about what? Computer programming, and then variables and operators. We are treating that. Okay, yeah, 10 minutes gone. We can now jump straight into the class. So when you talk about programs, do you have your textbook there? Let me share my screen here. It is the same textbook, by the way. It's just that this site has opened it, like simplified it for us here, for us to see. And I can easily share it like this. So let me share my screen. Hold on. Share screen. Okay, can you see my screen now? Is it visible?
Yes, please.
Okay, great. Now I'll be using this page, books.trinket.io. Anybody can access it. All right. So what is computer programming? I won't talk about what is a computer, because we all know what computer is, and in fact, for a fact, some of us are using a computer, a personal computer right now, laptops and all of that, right? So I will jump right straight into it. A program is a sequence of instructions. And what are those instructions? Input, output, maths, decision, succession, repetition. All right. Now, these are sets of what? Programs. They are in sequence. They follow certain pattern. So when you pass this kind of program to a computer, it what? It programs it for you. It could also be a symbolic computation, like searching, replacing text, and so on. So we are all familiar with, whenever you're learning a programming language, we talk about Hello World program. And what does that mean? It's like the simplest form of programming. All right. As for Java, Java's Hello World is what you see on the screen right now. The Hello World program. You start with a class name. Can you see? Public class Hello. Hold on. Let me see. We are going to use IntelliJ for this. So if you have IntelliJ already, please try to get used to IntelliJ. So we want to create an Hello World program. What do? You create what? A class. What class name? Hello. Okay. So now, if you look at the screen very well, from what I'm sharing, this is already displaying some kind of intelligence for me. It's a simpler form of programming, so why not? So we have the first line, which is known as what? The first, the name of a class, hello. It's very simple. Now the second line says public static void main string. Okay, that is what we use, all right, for our main what's the name? For our main method in programming. Really, it does not change. We will talk about what public means, what static means, void, and all of that as we progress in this class. But you should know that this is what? Your main method. And it is always demarcated by what? By curly brackets. We call this curly brackets. Okay? Whatever you put within this curly bracket works with what? Your main method. So you want to write hello world. We want you to display on our screen hello world, saying, oh, hello, are you there? This is my first time writing a programming language. Hello world, that's what it means. So the only line that is meaningful in this program, in this hello world program right now as it is this last statement here. System.out.print line. What does it mean? I want to print hello world to the screen. That's what it means. So we have our class name, all right, and we have what? Our statement system.out.print line, which is what? Hello world. That is what a program is. Let me continue. So we say Java program. We are not going to print anything yet. We are still talking about what a program is. We are not coding yet. So we say, what is a program? It consists of what? Statements. And what is a statement? A statement is a line of code that performs an action. For example, I mentioned system.out.println hello world is a what? Is a print statement. All right. Java could be case sensitive. Let's continue. Java is case sensitive, which means that uppercase and lowercase are not the same. All right. For example, when you see this system.out.println, you see that system starts with what? Capital S. So when you use small letter system or you put everything into capital, it will not work. Well, you might try to experiment it on your own. It won't work. So we say a program consists of what? Statements consists of what? Methods. Now, what is a method? A method is a sequence of what? Statements. Don't be confused. Sequence of what? Statement. Statement is what? A line of code that performs a basic action. It's as simple as that. Now, in the program we just wrote the other time, I mentioned that there is a method there in that code, and we call it what? A main method. This is what we call program hello world. Having class hello, consisting of what? A method, main method, and with a statement line what? Hello world. Okay. I'm trying to make it as clear as possible, easy to understand. Now, the line that begins with 2 slashes that you see here is what we call comment. Okay. So you can come here and say, print hello world to the screen. Okay. Now, this comment is not going to print itself out to the screen. It is to make the user or the coder understand, or someone else that wants to read this code, understand what the statement is saying or what the line of code is doing. Okay. So that is what comment is. However, in programming, or in most programming languages, you see that they use English words. They don't mean the same thing. Comment in English is just comment. In fact, it's like a statement. If you make a comment now, it's like you're making a statement. Statement and comment in English is English. But however, when it comes to programming, statement and comment, are they the same thing? No. All right. So you don't interpret things in Java based on the English words. Let's continue. So we say collection, a class now, the summary of a class now is a what? Collection of methods. This hello world, for example, has a method in it. Trust me, you can also define other methods within this class. So at the end of the day, a class is a what? Collection of methods. All right, we are done with that aspect. So how then do you execute your programs, compile, interpret, a lot of people get confused when it comes to this area. We'll go straight into it. Compiling of Java language, all right, of Java programs. Let's, okay. Now, if you look at this image here, we see a source code, an interpreter, and what? An output. Now, as for an interpreter reads a high-level language program and executes it line by line. Okay, that is the difference between an interpreter and what? A compiler. A compiler will pick everything and what? And interpret and then give you your output. However, an interpreter is going to take more time because it's trying to read every information line by line. Okay, so let me read something here. Programs in high-level language, of course, Java is one of the high-level languages that we have to be translated into low-level language, also called machine language. Because if you don't know something like this, it's just a basic thing. So it's better you know about the language you want to learn or you want to start working with. So you translate into a low-level language called what? Machine language. And then, which is a small disadvantage in high-level languages. And that is why we always make use of compiler in high-level languages. Java, for example, is an high-level language. And so, let's talk about compiler. When you're talking about compiler, it is in contrast to interpreter. So, we have Java to be both a compiled and an interpreted language. You can decide to interpret, but I'm wondering what kind of code you will write that it's interpreter that will do that for you. We have your source code here called hello.java. Your compiler is going to compile to Java hello.java, right? And then we call it virtual machine. To address this issue, Java is both compiled and interpreted. Instead of translating source code directly to an executable, the Java compiler generates code for virtual machine. It's an imaginary code. It's translated to virtual machine. This imaginary machine has the functionality common to both desktop, laptop, and so on. Its language is called what? Java bytecode. So when this Java bytecode has been converted, then an interpreter will then translate it to the output. All right. So these processes, all right, has been implemented mostly in your IDEs, in your integrated development environment. And what do I mean? For example, you are making use of IntelliJ right now. This IntelliJ you are looking at as a compiler, and this compiler has gone through all of these stages, all of these processes. So at the end of the day, when you execute your code on IntelliJ, the only thing you will see is what is the output. All right. So we have hello.java here, which is your source code. But at the end of the day, what you will see is what? Hello world, because IntelliJ has done all of the work of compiling and then running your program. All right. So if you want to run this program, for example, all you need is just to do a click and then you have your output out here. Okay. Displaying of messages. We talked about hello world, right? Now let's talk about how do you display. We've talked about print line, right? Now, in terms of there are different kind of ways you display your output, especially for hello world here. You can use print or print line. All right. When you are using print line, it means you are expecting a new line. But when you are using print, it means you are not expecting any new line. It's just the first line. You want to print it to the first line. That is it. So you can experiment with these two on your own. You have seen us use print line. What if you use print? What will it give you? All right. So in this code here, you see print goodbye, clear word. What happened? Because Java reads line by line, it's going to follow just this first one, because this first one is saying print only on the first line, don't go to a second line. There's no second line. This one is saying print to a second line. Therefore, this clear word is going to be printed to this first one's first line. All right. It is line by line. Okay. Now let's move on. Formatting of source code. Where are we? Formatting of source code. Okay. Let's write something out. Okay, we have written system.how.print. Let's see if we can do this print again. System.how.print. Okay. What's wrong with my keyboard? Let's do it again. System.out.print line. Okay. Ooh. Now, what I want to do here, I want to show you how the print and the print line works. So I will say hello cruel world. Hello cruel world. Okay. One is making use of print, the other one is making use of print line. All right. Now, formatting in Java, you discover that I wrote all of this together, right? If I want a space, I can put a space here. And then when you execute this, you have your space being displayed here. And that is how it works in Java. Also, even if you put all of this together on the same line, you are still going to have the same result. I'm saying this because some of us that are used to Python, where all this indentation is important, is not so much important here. But it will be good for you to do this well, so that others can actually read your code, and even you can read it next time easily. So if you do this and you still execute, you are still going to have the same result. That's the essence of what when we are talking about formatting. Okay, you still have the same result. This is not Python. All right, let's continue. The use of /n/t/ quotation and all of that. I will just mention them. /n means new line, /t tab. Let's go back. So we have them here, escape sequence. Okay, so you want your statement to be printed to a new line, you can just put a /n, right, at the end of your statement, or wherever you want to put it. You want the new line to jump to, or the new string or whatever. You put /n here and all of that. Please try to check this out on your own. You have heard of debugging several times, but you probably don't understand to what extent debugging works. Okay, before I jump into debugging, let's talk about algorithm, because algorithm is important. And algorithm is especially important for software testers. So, talking about algorithm is a sequence. Algorithm, okay, is a sequence of steps that specifies how to solve a problem. So, you have a problem you want to solve. I mentioned that every day what you do in programming is to solve a problem. And if you're not thinking like someone who wants to solve a problem, you might not be able to solve the problem. So the first thing is having that mindset of a problem solver. So an algorithm is a sequence of steps. You follow certain steps. Oh, I want to automate this login step. How do I go about it? This is different from your test case steps, by the way. It's different. You can write a test case and write it perfectly, and it is good. And by the time you are trying to automate it, you don't follow the same step. Yes. In programming, we talk about what? Algorithm is a sequence of steps that specifies how to solve a problem faster. Okay? How to solve a problem faster. And while you are writing the sequence of how to solve this particular problem, you discover that you execute some of these codes and there are bugs. All right? That is where bug comes in as a QA. We say designing algorithm and writing code is difficult and error prone. For historical reasons, programming errors are called bugs. Okay, that is the definition of bug. Programming errors are called what? Bugs. And the act and the process of tracking them down, correcting them, is what we call what? Debugging. Simple, very simple. You want to track down the errors in your code. You have written something that you're not supposed to write. There is an exception somewhere and a lot of other errors somewhere. But you can't track from which method, from which file, from which class it is coming from. You need to debug to find out. And that is what we call what? Debugging a program. All right, let's move on. I think I'm currently through with chapter 1. Good. Okay. So that is the fundamentals of what? Programming we just talked about. And in short, we have used hello words to talk about this fundamentals of programming and also understanding the concept of what? Compiler, which most of the time is integrated into your development environment. Okay, we say what you input is what you what? Output. What you input is what you what? Output. And also it is possible for you to code and add errors to your code. And with the process of you detecting this computer bugs is what we call what? Programming errors is what we call bugs. And the process of what? Tracking down these bugs is what we call what? Debugging. So hopefully you understand all of this. Let's move straight to the next thing on our okay. We still have some time. Declaring variables and operators. It doesn't just stop at you writing a class and writing a method like we talked about. It doesn't just stop at you. Let's take this up to proper, easy to read formatting. Okay. So it doesn't just stop at, oh, I've written a class, public class, hello. I've written a main method, public static void main string args. I've written it. And I've written a statement, a print statement, oh, print and print line. That is not enough. Now, thinking about what your problem is, depending on what problem you are solving, variables is very essential in programming. Okay. Now, let's talk about declaring variable. Declaring variable. Okay. Now, a variable in itself, right? A variable in itself is a location in the memory. Okay. In which memory? The memory of your system, of your computer, is a named location. Okay. Now, when you say let's use the example in this textbook, string message You are simply declaring message as a location in your memory. Now, this is what we call variable declaration, declaring a variable. We are declaring message as what? As a space, as a storage in your memory, named what? Okay, we are not naming yet. So we are declaring that this is what? A named location in memory that should eventually store a value. Your variable should eventually do what? Store a value. Now I say string message. What is string message if you are not using it? It's very useless. Intelligence is already telling me, as intelligent as my intelligence, this one is very intelligent. It says no usages because it's empty. It's empty. But of course, this is what we call what? Variable declaration. Okay. Now, I say string message, right? Okay. Now, I want to assign a value to this particular space in the memory. What do? You call it assigning variables. Okay, assigning values to, okay, this thing is very intelligent. It's already telling me values to variables. Okay, that's good. Okay, so we say assigning values to variables. What does it mean to assign values to variables? It means that you not only create that space called message, now you have something inside this memory space called message, and that is the value called what? What should we call it? Message. Okay, equals I love you. Of course, with your termination. Okay, now you are assigning what? You are assigning value to what? This variable. Okay, so I have assigned I love you to what? To message. Now, okay, this book is saying when you declare a variable, you create a named storage location, and when you make an assignment, you update its value. It's as simple as that. That's the summary of everything we have been saying. Now, when you talk about initialization, it means the very first value that you assign to a variable. The very first value, the very first time, let me say, the very first time you assign a value to a variable, you are instantiating the variable. Okay. Now, what does that mean? It means that I can write it this way. Instantiating you can call it a new object. So, no. That's not what I'm doing. You're intelligent, but this is not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm doing. Okay, so I will say string message equals, okay, string message equals, let me call it another name. String, what should I call it this time around? String very equals to your turn. Okay, now you discover that for this line, both the declaration and the assigning is done on the same line, right? It's done on the same line. Initially for this message, what we did was to declare first before assigning. But here, what did we do? We went straight to the variable to both declare and also to what? To assign. Now, we call this what? Initialization. Sorry, I said in. I was wondering when it was bringing me different initialization of a variable. Sometimes the intelligence of this thing can bring what it's not supposed to bring. Okay, generalization of a variable. Let's go on. Now, okay, I've mentioned that. That's good. Now, talking about different kind of variables, right? You discover that I've only been using what? String. You can use any name you want for a variable, but there are 50 reserved words called keywords in Java. And of course, if you're looking at IntelliJ right now, you discover that some of those keywords are already highlighted in their different colors. So you cannot use system, for example, as what? A variable. Okay. You cannot use what are that in public, for example, as a what? As a variable. You are going to have error, or your ID is going to also just show it off to you as an error. So, talking about memory, we are not done here. Before we start talking about data types, okay, talking about memory diagrams. Now, what do I mean here? It is possible that you have committed data type. I'm not talking about data type. Okay, that's good. Okay, so what we are doing right now is we want to talk about these variables. It is possible that you assign a particular value to a variable and later assign another value. The new value you assign is going to be the latest value in that memory. What do I mean? I can say int, let's use int right now. I can say int, okay, that's a good suggestion. I can say int x equals to 5. Okay. It means that there is a space in memory called x. This x is an integer. We'll talk about data types, not now. So this x is an integer, and what? And it is storing the value 5. I can say int y equals to x. Okay. Then I can later say good. This is the example I'm looking for. Now, there is an x in the memory that is storing 5. There is a y in the memory. There is also a y in the memory. Okay. We don't know the value of this y. All we know is that this y is equals to x. That is, the latest value of 5 here, or of x here, the latest value of x here has the same value of what? Of y. Okay. Now, if later in the memory I decide to make x to be equals to 10, okay, if I assign x equals to 10, what will be the latest value of y? 10. The latest value of x will be 10, and the latest value of y will also be what? 10. So in short, what we are trying to say is this. So in short, what we are trying to say is this. Because Java reads line by line, it finds the latest updates for you when it comes to memory. Okay, when it comes to memory, it will give you the latest value in your memory. It will not give the previous value, but it's going to give what? The latest value. So how do you print variables? How do we print variables? Okay. Print variables. The other time we talked about printing statements, right? This is what? A statement that we have printed here. Real world. Now, how do you print variable vehicle or message or variable X or something? Okay. Now, okay, good suggestion. Now, in printing of variables, you go by what? The variable name. Okay. You go by the variable name. So, for example, I want to print integer. I want to print the value of X here. I can say the value of X is, and then put what the value is. Okay. That's just a suggestion. I'm not writing that. All right. So I can do this. What else can I do? Now, if you are looking at this statement here, you will see that I added what will I call it? A plus sign. Now, plus sign in, let's explain this. Plus sign in programming, right? Especially when it comes to print statements here, it's not the same thing as addition. What we are doing here is to concatenate. We are trying to join one statement to another statement within the print statement. All right. So when this one we print to the console, is going to print the value of X is 10. Let's see what this error is showing us. Message string okay. Oh, I think I may know why. It does not have its own method. They are all on their own. No, we are not talking about creating methods yet. So we will leave it this way. Let's use our textbook. Okay. Where did we stop in this textbook? We are done with chapter 1 here. Let's go to chapter 2. Chapter 2. Variables and operators. Okay. Let's use this. Okay, I think this is where we are right now. Not arithmetic. Oh, I thought the ID is here. There's no ID. So what you will do for me, please experiment with all of this at home, right? Experiment with all of this at home. Now look at this. This is saying int hour equals to 11, int minute equals to 59. This integer variable hour and minute, they all have their values. Now by the time you are printing, you are saying the current time is, all right. Now we are using print, not print line, meaning that you are not expecting a new line. Everything will be printed on the same line. Okay. Now the current time is, you just pick, when you say print hour, what will display? 11. When you say print column, okay, column will what? Be display. When you say print minutes, 59 will be displayed. And when you say print dot will come right there, because you are using the keyword print, not print line. So eventually what you should have is what? The current time is 11:59. Okay. Now we are talking about arithmetic operator. I was explaining something about the concatenation and the arithmetic operator. So the arithmetic operator is different from what? Concatenation. And when it comes to programming, the order of precedence is the same as in mathematics. In mathematics, you talk about what? Word mass. Remember, your multiplication and your division and your subtraction and addition. Okay. Some come first before the other. Okay. Now, if you want if you want to do multiplication and you don't want a mix-up in programming, it's better you use your parentheses. I think I need to explain this better. Okay. Okay. Now, for example, you want to calculate minutes divided by 60. Of course, this your minute has a value already, right? Do we have the value for minute? Okay, so minutes here is 59. Let's see if we can do it. I can create another class. Let's see. Or I can comment all of this out. Good. Good. Now let's do something. Okay, we want to do something like this. Int hour, int minutes, and then we print it out. Okay. That's not the one I'm printing, but print side. Okay. Int hour, int minute. You have a good intelligence there. Int minute, int what else? What else are we doing? We want to print time. You need your hour, your minute, your what else do we have there? Okay, I think that's all. So we want number of minutes since midnight. Hour multiplied by 60. This is the expression we want. Okay. Hour multiplied by 60 plus minutes. What will that give you? Okay. Okay. Let's use that suggestion. But this is not what we are doing. Hour multiplied by minute, right? So in arithmetic operation, your multiplication, this is what is denoted by your multiplication, something that look like star. And of course, your addition is the normal plus sign. Okay. Now, hour multiplied by minute. Okay. The current time is hour multiplied by minute. Let's see what we have anyway. System.out.print line. So we want to print hour. Do we have the same values? 11:59. We have the same values, right? 11:59. So our hour is what? 11. Our minute is 59. And then we want to print the current time by saying hour multiplied by minute. This is the expression we want to output. Okay, so like we said earlier, when you are out printing your variable, you print the variable name. So see minutes now, for example, this is the variable name here, minutes. Okay, the same thing with hour, it's the variable name. I didn't come here to say 11 multiplied by 59, right? It is what? Hour multiplied by minutes. So that's how you print. And this addition you see here is what we call concatenation, which I've been trying to explain. It means that you are joining this value of string to this expression, this mathematical expression here, and you're also joining it to what? This variable here. So this is what we call concatenation. Try to walk around with concatenation and see what it gives you. Okay, let me. Oh no, now I need to do something with print time. Okay. Now this is what I want to do. So I want to print time. But we explain all of these things when we get to those aspects. So don't be confused. The most important thing right now is that we want to print this to the console, right? Now, how do you go about that? I'm going to execute this now. So I have the current time is 6:49:59, right? 6:49:59. So let's see, is it the same thing? Times 60. Are we having the same value? Hour times 60 plus minutes. Okay. Okay. So it's not the same value. So they are plus minutes. Let's see it again. Just want to be sure that we are doing the same thing. This expression here, can you see that there is a confusion here? Now, the formula here should be hour times 60 plus minutes, right? Not just hour times 60. So let's do something. Let's put our minutes times 60 plus, okay, let's do this first. Let's see what comes out. Oh, so as we are doing this, you see we are getting different values, and there's just one simple problem with this. The problem is the fact that you will get different results based on how you have chosen to write your expressions. So let me see if parenthesis is going to help the matter here. Now, this has helped the matter. So I put parentheses in between to show that this formula is what I'm calculating. And also that it is not just a string somewhere. It's not just concatenation. I want specifically for this to perform multiplication first, right? And then add the minute to it. That is what it means. So, like I said, the operations has its own precedence, just like we have in mathematics, the board mass format. Please read more about it. I think now we have the same value, right? 719 and what? 719. Now, you know the reason why I have dot 59 here. That's because I added the minutes and here. Can you see? It is not normal addition, it is concatenation. So I concatenated this column and minutes here, and that's why we have this part. Okay. Now let's proceed. Same goes for if you are doing something like percentages and all of that. Let's go to floating point numbers. floating point numbers. How do you deal with numbers with decimal points? Okay, that the numbers we call floating points. They call them double precision. In Java, the default floating point type is called double, which is short for what? Double precision. So when you're talking about a number like pi, is a what? Is a floating point number. And if you want to declare pi, you call it what? Double. You use the keyword double. Why? Because it has a decimal and it has what we call double precision, which is this. Let's show you. Because it has a decimal and it has floating numbers behind of it. Therefore, we say it is what? Double. Now, the same thing goes to time calculation. When you want to calculate both the minute and the second together, you have dots, whatever it is, and you call it what? Double. Now, in this situation, if you are calculating money, for example, especially monies that value the kobo part, if you are talking about naira, or the cent part, if you are talking about euro, then you know that both the left and the right side of your float has what? Has value, like is important. So with that, we talk about rounding error. Okay, we already talked about floating point. There's nothing special about it. So make sure that when you are writing your floating point number, you put your dots, the decimal there. It's very important. Now, rounding error, which is the next. So most floating point number are only approximately correct. Some numbers like reasonably sized integer can be represented exactly, but repeating fractions like 1/3 and irrational numbers like pi cannot. All these are just mathematical jargons. You should know that though. To represent these numbers, computers have to round off to the nearest floating point number. All right. For example, there is an example here. You want to do a calculation 0.1 by 10. All right. 0.1 by 10 will always be 1, right? But because we have a decimal here, normally your 1 by your 10 is 1. And your 0.1 by 10 is what? Should be 1. But because it is 0.1 in computer, yeah, in mathematics, if you do 0.1 times 10, what do you have? 1. Yes, 1. But if you do 0.1 times 10 in programming, yeah, what do you have? 1.0. Okay. Now, talking about this one, 0.1 plus this. Okay. Normally in mathematics, when you do this, what do you have? Okay. But on many occasions, the output is as follows. So somebody tell me, if you do 0.1 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in 10 places in mathematics, what do you have? Let's make it a little bit more interactive as we are coming to the end of this class. Let's see our mathematicians in the house. I'm listening. Some people are carrying.
Hello, it should be 0.10.
It should be what? If you add it
0.10.
mathematically, what do you have?
I say 0.10.
Is that correct? Anybody that wants to oppose that? You are right, 0.10. Because we have this in 10 places. By the time you add 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9 to 10, you have 0.10. But on many machines, the output is what? 0.9, So you see, your mathematical stuff is different from programming. So that means that when you are doing this in programming, you remember that your 1 is different from your 0.1. The problem is that 0.1 is a repeating fraction. when converted into binary, so it is floating point representation stored in memory is only approximate, okay? For many applications like computer graphics, encryption, blah, 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 floating point arithmetic has benefit that outweighs the cost. So, what do you do in this case? Potential rounding error. Let's see. But if you need absolute precision, use integers instead. For example, you want to check your balance and you say double, okay, you say double balance equals to 123.45. Okay, now this is money, right? 123 stands for a particular currency, 45 stands for the other part of the currency, right? In this example, balances will become inaccurate over time as the variable is used in arithmetic operation like deposits and withdrawals. The result will angry customers and potential lawsuits. You can avoid problem by representing the balance as an integer. So what do you do? When you have 123 naira, 45 kobo, what do? You convert everything to what? Kobo instead. This is what they are trying to say here. Or when you have 123 euro 45 cents, what do? You convert the entire thing to what? Cents. So that you'll be able to find the actual values in cents. This solution works as long as the number of cents does not exceed the largest int, which is about 2 billion. So you must be careful when you are coding and you are rounding up errors like this when it comes to floating point numbers. So operators for string. Okay. I mentioned briefly this kind of operator: concatenation, addition, and co. So when you see the plus sign during concatenation, it is not the same thing as the plus sign you see in arithmetic operation. That is what this is talking about. So operator for string, we have print line 1 plus 2 plus LO. When you are doing this, it is not the same thing. Let's see if we can do something like this. Okay. So I have system.print 1 plus 2. This is not going to perform addition 1 plus 2 for you. Okay. So let's see what this will do for us. We already have oh, sorry. It's performing addition. There's another one I wanted to do. Yeah. Okay. So if you look at this now, the output is what? 3 LO. What does that mean? It means that he reads this result line by line. It adds 1 to 2. But when it comes to between 2 and LO, what did he do? Instead of performing another addition, another arithmetic operation, what did he do? It concatenated the result of 1 and 2 to what? LO. That's exactly what I want to explain with this. Now, there is a 1 to 2. This addition here is an arithmetic operator. Addition, however, the addition here is what? Concatenation. Makes it different totally. So we have 3 LO. So I think there's another example here that says, let's check this. So we have LO plus 1 plus 2. Like we said, it's going to read it line after line. After reading this line, it will come here and start reading from the left to the right. So we have LO plus 1 plus 2. Now this one is going to be different. Why? Because there is already a problem here between the string here and the one here. Is what? Is a concatenation. So because there's a concatenation here, it will immediately assume that this is also what? A concatenation and not an arithmetic operator. Look at it. So we have a low 1, 2. And that's what we call precedence with operators, right? Let me see. Talk about precedence. Okay, we've not gotten there. Anyway, so you see that there is a difference. Because when you start reading from the left-hand side here, you saw this. Because this is 1, this is an integer, this is 2, it is of the same type. By the time it see this plus, you see that it's the same type, and then he adds it together, and then it becomes 3. But between these 2 and this 3, we don't have the same data type. This is what? A string, and this is what? An integer. So what does it do? It just join it together. Simple. And by the time you are running this one, it starts from what? The left again, hello. And then between this hello and 1 is what? Is what? You see a string, you see an integer. What does it do? You just join it. And at the same time, it's going to assume this is also part of it. Bam. And that's it. Just join everything together. So we say multiplication and division take precedence over addition and subtraction, which means they happen first. Okay. I think that is how it works in mathematics too. Am I right? Division and multiplication takes precedence in mathematics. Multiplication and division take precedence over addition also in programming. If the operator have the same precedence, they are evaluated from left to right. So in the expression minute by 100 divided by 60, the multiplication happens first. If the value of minute is 59, we get 5900 over 60, which yields 98. If the same operation had gone from right to left, the result would have been different, which is what? 59 multiplied by 1, which is incorrect. So anytime you want to override the order of operation, or you are not sure what it is, you can use parentheses, which is what we used the other time when we were getting wrong value for our print operation here. We had to use parentheses. Okay. Expression in parentheses are evaluated first. So 1 plus 2 in parentheses multiplied by 3 is what? 9. Because you say 3 times 3 is what? 9. You can also use parentheses to make expression easier to read as what? Minute multiplied by 100 divided by 60. So it is different thing for you to say minute multiplied by 100 divided by 60 without parentheses, and with parentheses they will be interpreted differently. Now, these compiler errors, you can get them on your own. What that means is, if you experiment well, try to write statements without the expected semicolon, or try to pass a keyword as a variable, or what other thing. There are so many reasons you can get a compile time error. Try to do that on your own and see what error you will get. Now, there are two problems here. First, the error message is written from the compiler's point of view, not yours. Parsing is the process of reading a program before translating. Okay, so I've been talking about read. It will read from left to right. What we're all saying is that we are what? Passing. You must have had the keyword, the word passing before. All right. The compiler discovers the error at the end of the program, but the missing braces should be in the previous line. If, for example, you perform this kind of print operation without the parentheses, you should get an error like this: reached end of file while passing. Okay, there are other errors too, so try to go through these two chapters and digest them, because you'll be having an assignment moving forward. Now, we will do exercise 2 in class now. Our time is almost over now. right? We will do this exercise and then you will go home and do exercise 3. Now, this exercise 3 assignments will be collected on Friday next week. If you don't do your assignment, like I said, don't expect to ask any question in this class. Okay, so exercise 2. So if you are using okay, whatever. Exercise. So the point of this exercise is to use string concatenation to display values with different types. Okay, did we talk about okay, we've talked about int and string already. You already know what integers are, your normal numbers from 1 to 10 or 100 or whatever. And your string is what? The the ones inside the what will I call inter quotation. All right, that is your string. Anything you put inside quotation is your string, okay? And then we also have we've talked about floats, the numbers with decimal points, and what other data type have we talked about today? Just those 3, right? Okay, so we are not going past them here. Create a new program named date.java. Copy and type in something like the LOL program and make sure you compile and run it. So while preparing for this class, I think I did something like that, but let's just do that in this class now. So we have date.java. Okay, let's follow the assignment. Create a new program named date.java. Copy or type in something like the Hello World program and make sure you compile and run it. Just the same Hello World program we've been writing since. So tell me, what am I writing next? Somebody. Okay, tell me now. What am I writing next? Okay.
You repeat the question. I did not hear you correctly.
Okay, I said tell me what I'm writing next, what I should write next. Okay, so what we want to do is we are on number 1, create a new program named date.java. Copy and type something like the Hello World program and make sure you compile and run it. This is what we are doing. We want to compile Hello World. And that is what we did in the first time in this class. So that is, you write your main method. You've written the class name called date. It should be followed by what? Your main method. And then what should it be followed by? Your print statement.
Your print
Okay.
statement.
Okay, so we have system dot out dot print line. Okay, so we have print what? Hello world. Print hello world. Compile and run it. Let's do this right now. So let's see. It. Okay, so we have hello world here. Okay, that's the first thing here. The second one says, following the example in section 2.4, write a program that creates variable named day, date, month, and year. The variable day will contain the day of the week, like Friday, and dates will contain the day of the month, like the 13th. Assign values to these variables and represent today's date. Okay. So you write a program that creates variables. So let's talk about variables. Day, date, and month. Okay. Let's say int day of it is int. Day should be string, right? That's when you're saying Friday. Friday is a string. Okay, so we say string Friday, string day equals to Friday. That is both declaring your variable and assigning Friday as a value to it. So what next? We say dates. Which one is dates? Say date will contain the day of the month, like the 13th, which is number, right? So you say int date equals to, let's say, 13. All right. We have month and we have year. Month is also a string, and your year is an int. Okay, string. Okay, good. Month. So, however, this month in the example here should be what? 13th day of the month. They didn't specify. Okay. Now the year. Okay, so we have month and we have year. Okay. Okay, so we'll do it this way. Now, so what other variable have we left? 1, 2, 3, 4. These are all the variables. So assign values to these variables that represent today's date. Okay. Now display the values of each variable on a line by itself. This is an immediate step that is useful for checking that everything is working so far. Compile and run the program before moving. Display the value of each variable on a line by itself. Okay, let's do it. So how do we display the value of this? By using a print statement. So we can say system dot out of print dot print today's date is today's date is what? 13th of, that's date day date day date day month and year. Month and year. Display on the same line. Yeah, but it looks like we don't. Let me see if I can print this in the main method. Otherwise, not so. Okay. For now, because I want to print this. Hopefully. Main method is not static. Yes, of course. It should be static. Public static void. Okay. I will have to write a method for it. Let's bring it out. Let's bring it down. Okay. Let's see what we can call this. Let's call this today's date. Today's date. Today's date is a method that takes in all these variables and then prints the variables on one line. Okay. Takes in all these variables and print them on one line. I think I copied it earlier. Okay. So if you are looking at this, see there's no error there now. Now, however, this is very useless. Even if you execute it, it will not run yet. Want to check? Because I've not used it yet. Good. Now, how do I print this to the console? Today's date. Now, to be able to print this to the console, I have to mention this, at least call this from the main method. So what do I do? Yes, I can do this and say date dot date dot, that is class dot, that's name date, class name, which is date dot today's date, is being called in the main method, meaning that everything I want to get done, this statement, will be executed within the main method. Let's see what we have here. Today's date is 13 Friday, September 2019. Okay, so is that what they asked us to do? Display the value of each variable on a line by itself. Okay. Day, date, month, year. The variable day will contain the day of the week, like Friday, yeah. And yeah. So now I think the last two ones says modify the program so that it displays the date in standard American format. For example, Thursday, July 18, 2019. Modify the program so that it displays the date in European format, and the final output should be. So yeah, because we have talked about string concatenation, printing of statements and all of that. So this is what will happen. We will only modify this in our print statement. So here we are performing the American format. So this here says the format should look like this. Okay. So system dot out dot println. Good. American format should look like, oh, let me put it in the comments. Should look like this. Should look like this. Should look like American format, Thursday, July 18, 2019. That is the day, that is the month, okay? That is the month, the day, and then the year. That's how it should look like. American format, month, day, and year. Okay, so let's see what comes out here. Okay. Yeah, I think this should happen normally. Why? Because this was print, and by the time I get here, I'm saying print line. So it will force this one to print on this line here because it's just print. Print line says I'm expecting a new line. Print is saying no, there's no new line. Print everything on the same line. So what will I do? I will comment this out. I don't need it for now. I need only this. Let's compile this again. So I have American format. September, Friday 13, 2019. Can you see? It has followed this format. Now, this is asking for, sorry. This is asking for European format. European format should also look like this. European format should look like this. So let's see what we have for European format. A good suggestion. Yeah, I thought I put system.out. Oh. Okay. This should be month, day, and date. Okay, let's see what we have. European format, September Friday 13, 2019. There's no comma here. Let's do this again. This does not have comma too. Okay. Anyway, that's what we have. That's what we have following the format that was given. So with this, we have come to the end of this exercise and generally to the end of this class. So you go home, you will do exercise 3. And then tomorrow you will also have another assignment. And by Friday, we will go through this assignment together within 1 hour. Please, like I said, no late coming. If you don't do your assignment on Friday, don't just come to class. We'll do everything together in class, and from there we'll continue from next week. So if you have any questions, you can ask now because this class is over. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you have learned 1 or 2 things from this class. Even if you have been coding before now, I'm sure you should have learned 1 or 2 things from this class. Questions? Any question for me?
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Let me see who is speaking.
My name is Gwende Adegola.
Okay, Boyinde.
Yeah, good morning. So please, this is my first time in Java. So I actually got those body codes, but what I'm having is just like the setup. Because I'm trying to set it up where you write your date. That's the setup by the left side. Where you are picking it. That's where I did not get where you pick all those things.
Set up by what?
Like the setup, the left hand side, the project side, the left hand side in the
You mean
IntelliJ.
creation of a project?
Yes.
Ah,
The ANST, I've gotten those one, but where you got that Java, the folder inside that Java, that's it.
it's
How you get
very
that one?
simple. Just go to create a new project, and that's all. All you need to do is to create a new Java project. This is a Java project. Call it anything, ANST, anything. And that's it. And then you create. When you create this like this, then you will see it automatically comes with your Java and your test. It automatically comes that way. And then from there, you can create your classes. Let's do a one. Yeah,
Okay.
let's just do one. New Java class. Boyide. Can you see? By the way, this your poem is not so necessary in this class because we are only doing Java programming. So if you see a poem like this, you can put anything within the group ID. It is not of concern to us. We are not dealing with poem here. All we are doing is we are dealing with this Java main class here. So you come to your Java here. We already have a main automatically created for you. Okay. You already have something like this automatically created for you. I didn't create this. It came with creating a Java project. That is just it. Java project. It's as simple as that. Then if you want to create a new class, you come here and say new Java class. And you give it a name, date, enter, and that's it. It's as simple as this. Hmm? So if you want to execute, maybe after writing your blah 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 code, yeah, you want to execute, you see something like this. It's just always like this. It either if you have executed it before, it will pick your current file with as the class name. But if you have not executed like this before, just like now, this is a new class. It has not been compiled before now. So it's going to show you current file, and you can always just compile it that way. And then you see, next time you want to execute the same page, you can just come here and click on rerun. Okay, so this is what we have here, or you can execute it from here. Still the same. You can decide to just run the method. All right, so you can see that now we have a date. It has picked a class name here. All right, and so you can just keep executing from here. There is no magic to it. It's the intelligent IDE is very intelligent, and that's why we are using IntelliJ. And if you are just installing for the first time, you can also install some plugins like there's this let's say Intelli this intelligence plugin. This intelligence plugin that I once installed. I'm not sure. Anyway, you can look it up. No, not this. These ones are new. Let's say installed. Okay, I have Copilot, but that's not the only one. It's telling me only one plugin installed. I think I have more than one plugin installed. Anyway, so that is how you make use of your IntelliJ. Okay. All right. So that is it. Is it clear now?
Yes, yes. Okay, thank you very much, ma. I've gotten that.
Okay, good. All right. So any other question?
Yes, please. When we write the code and we run it,
Mm.
there should be a web place where it will display. When we run it,
A workplace.
I mean, when we run it, maybe when we write a hello world, when we run it, we are not seeing. I'm not seeing the display. We are not seeing the display part where it will display when we run it. Where it will display.
I don't understand. Everything we are doing right here
Like,
in this class
like
covers only
you,
chapter 1 and 2.
like okay, like you run it, like you write a code now
Mm.
and you run it. There should be a web where it will display what we are writing here.
So can you not see it on the screen right now?
So Temitope is referring
I'm
to
saying,
JavaScript. It's referring to when you're using JavaScript and you console to a web page. So that's what is. This is
JavaScript.
Java, not
Yeah.
JavaScript. So you know there's a way you can input your scripts, the index file in the script tag, and use what's it called? Live server to display your code on.
Oh,
That's what it's referring to.
oh, okay. Yeah, every language has this its own what's the name? Methods, right? So this I explained it earlier, the importance of compiler and interpreter. Okay, so this is definitely different from JavaScript. Okay, so and of course, whatever you are seeing right now, it's only specific to the topic that we treated today. There will be other topics that we will treat where there will be some forms of interaction. But right now, what you have here is just understanding the basis of Java, creating class, creating methods, and your print statements. I mean, I think that's mostly what we have done here today. Okay. Is that understood? Do you understand?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other question? Okay, in the absence of no question, we are done for today's class. Remember, you have an assignment to submit on Friday. Tomorrow, we'll be talking about input and output from chapter 3. I will advise you, as soon as you leave this class, go through everything we've done today, all the examples especially, and the one we did in class. Try to replicate them on your own before you jump into the assignment. If you're able to do that with your fresh memory, it will be easy to understand and process going forward. And another thing, tomorrow's class is very important. Try not to miss it. So far you are consistent enough, you'll be able to pull through. Okay. For those that are new to Java programming, it's better you pick this textbook from the very beginning and read it cover to cover, especially the ones we have done in class, please. It's every language has their own will I call is it the translation, how they are being done. It's totally different from JavaScript. It's different from Python. Okay, they are not the same thing. I mean, Java is straightforward, very straightforward. You just need to understand it's the way it is constructed. Once you understand the way it's constructed, you understand keywords, you understand how to manipulate objects and methods. So far, it is the simplest. Some people can argue that, but I don't think so. I think it's very simple. So yeah, if you have this mindset moving forward, you'll be able to learn more and have better, good questions for me. Okay. All right.
Thank
See
you so
you
much.
next time.
I
Thank
have
you,
a
Temito.
question. Sorry.
Good
Morning.
Uchendu, sorry,
Yes.
we are on a timer, right? This class
Oh,
is
okay.
supposed to end 11:45 because she kept asking if you had questions, but
No, it's nothing. I just wanted to ask the document she was using or
okay,
the PDF. Is there a
Said it
link to it?
already.
it's on Slack. I'll tag you to
Okay.
it on Slack. On Slack, she
Thank
dropped it 9:52 on Slack, so just check. Thank you
thank
so
you.
much, Temitope. And thanks everyone for joining. Please, Fumi and Jesu Demilade, decide between yourselves who is going to be the group leader. Going forward, you'll be in charge of these recordings for your class. We have unlike the beginner class where it was one class, we've split into 3 classes now. And outside of the 3 classes, there are other workshops that are going on. So I will not be in all classes. Today's class was just me doing pro bono for you. So you guys agree between yourselves who is going to be in charge and get back to me so that we share the details and calendar of how access to these Zoom recordings so that you can record your classes going forward. Please take attendance. I dropped it as the fourth item that you should do. Take attendance of every class. I'll be expecting the attendance for today's class this evening. So if you haven't done that, take a screenshot of the attendees in this chat, create a Google Sheet, and share the link with me once you're done. Thank you so much, Temitope. You can also reach out to her on Slack if you have any questions. Do well to do the assignments, and we'll see by 12 o'clock for the workshop. Thank you so much, Temitope. Have a lovely day.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim. Check with the mail.
Thank you.
Bye.